If you can't control your emotions will control your life. Most people don't notice this. They think the problem is outside people, situations, circumstances, but the real battle is happening inside your head. One comment, one memory, one unexpected moment, and suddenly anger takes over, fear takes over, anxiety takes over. Later, when it's over, you ask yourself, why did I react like that? This video exists for that exact moment. You were never taught how to handle emotions. You were taught what to feel, not how to control it. So most people grow up reacting instead of responding. They speak before thinking. They act before understanding. They regret after it's done. And they repeat the same cycle again and again. Here's the truth. Emotional control is not suppression. It's not becoming cold. It's not avoiding life. It's building authority over your inner world. When you control your mind, no situation controls you. Imagine this. Something that once triggered you no longer shakes you. Words that once hurt you now pass through you. Problems that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. In this video, you will learn 12 powerful principles to control your mind and emotions. No hype, no motivation tricks, only practical training you can use every single day. Watch this carefully, because the person who controls the mind controls the direction of their life. Let's begin. Awareness before control. You cannot control what you are not aware of. Most people try to control emotions after they explode. Anger appears. Words come out. Damage is done. Only then they think, I should have handled that better. But control never starts there. Control starts before the reaction. Every emotion follows a pattern. A thought appears. The body reacts. The emotion rises. Action follows. Most people miss the first step. They don't notice the thought. They only notice the emotion when it's already strong. That's why it feels uncontrollable. Here's the shift. The moment you notice an emotion rising, you create distance. Not resistance, not judgment, just awareness. Anger is rising. Fear is present. Anxiety is here. That simple noticing changes everything. Awareness puts you outside the emotion. You stop being the emotion and become the observer of it. And the observer always has more power. Try this. Next time you feel triggered, don't act, don't speak, don't decide. Just notice. Notice the tension in your body. Notice the speed of your thoughts. Notice the urge to react. That awareness alone will slow the emotion down. You don't need to fight emotions. You need to see them clearly. What you see clearly, you can manage calmly. This is the foundation of emotional control. Without awareness, no technique works. With awareness, control becomes natural. Master this first. Everything else builds on this. Pause is power. Most emotional mistakes don't happen because emotions exist. They happen because emotions move faster than thinking. Anger is fast. Fear is fast. Impulse is fast. And when emotions move fast, decisions become weak. Strong people are not emotionless. They simply do one thing differently. They pause. That small pause is the difference between control and regret, between reacting and responding. Think about your last emotional mistake. Maybe you said something harsh. Maybe you sent a message you shouldn't have. Maybe you made a decision out of stress. If you had paused, even for a few seconds, that moment would have looked very different. The brain works in two speeds. The emotional brain reacts instantly. The logical brain takes time. When you pause, you give logic time to arrive. And when logic arrives, emotions lose their dominance. Here is a simple practice. When you feel emotion rising, do nothing for 10 seconds. Not 5, not 2, 10. Take a slow breath in, hold it briefly, and release slowly. Do it once or twice. That breathing does something powerful. It tells your nervous system that you are safe. And when the body feels safe, emotions lose intensity. At first, this pause will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will push you to react quickly. Your body will demand expression. Stay still. That discomfort is emotional training. Every time you pause, you strengthen mental discipline. Every time you pause, you prove to yourself that emotions do not control you. Understand this deeply. Control is not built during calm moments. Control is built during emotional pressure, and pressure always gives you two options: react instantly or pause consciously. People who master this habit become emotionally dangerous, not to others, but to chaos. Situations stop controlling them. Conversations stop controlling them. Stress stops controlling them because they learned the power of delay. Remember this line: a few seconds of pause can save years of regret. Detach from thoughts. Most people believe every thought they have. That belief is the real problem. A thought appears and instantly feels true. I'm being disrespected. This is unfair. I can't handle this. And the moment a thought is believed, emotion follows. Anger, fear, anxiety. Here's the truth. Thoughts are not commands. They are suggestions. And not every suggestion deserves acceptance. You didn't choose most of your thoughts. They appear automatically based on memory, habit, and conditioning. So why let them decide how you feel? Detachment means this. You allow the thought to exist without becoming it. You don't fight it. You don't follow it. You watch it. Imagine standing on the side of a road, watching cars pass by. Some cars are loud, some are fast, some demand attention, but you don't chase them. Thoughts work the same way. They pass if you let them. The moment you step back and observe, the emotional charge weakens because emotion needs belief to survive. When belief drops, intensity drops. Try this. When a disturbing thought appears, say this silently: I am noticing this thought. That single sentence creates separation. You are no longer inside the thought, you are outside it. Detachment is freedom. It doesn't mean you stop thinking. It means thinking stops controlling you. Most emotional suffering comes from over-identifying. I am angry. I am anxious. I am afraid. Shift the language. Anger is present. Anxiety is present. Fear is present. That shift sounds small, but it changes everything. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. And awareness is always calm. This skill takes practice. At first, thoughts will pull you back in. That's normal. Each time you notice and step back again, you strengthen mental control. Remember this. You don't need to control every thought. You just need to stop obeying them. Name the emotion to tame it. Emotions feel overwhelming when they are vague. When you don't know what you're feeling, the mind fills the gap with chaos. Most people say, I feel bad. I feel off. I'm stressed. That's not awareness, that's confusion. The brain reacts strongly to the unknown. But the moment you name something, it becomes manageable. Here's the rule. When an emotion rises, label it. Not dramatically, not emotionally, simply and clearly. Anger, fear, disappointment, jealousy. This does something powerful. It activates the thinking part of the brain and reduces emotional intensity. You move from feeling to understanding. Instead of saying, this is too much, say, I am feeling anxious. I am feeling irritated. I am feeling overwhelmed. That shift creates distance, and distance creates control. Naming is not suppression. You're not pushing the emotion away. You're acknowledging it without letting it take over. Think of it like this. If you can name the emotion, you are already above it because chaos has no name. Practice this daily. Every time an emotion appears, pause and label it. No story, no judgment, just the name. The more accurately you label emotions, the less power they have over you. Clarity always beats intensity. Master this skill. It makes emotional control faster, cleaner, and effortless. Control the inner voice. Your emotions do not come from situations. They come from the voice inside your head. Two people face the same problem. One stays calm. One falls apart. The difference is not the situation. It's the inner dialogue. That voice narrates everything. What something means, how serious it is, whether you can handle it. And the body reacts to that narration. If the voice says, this is a disaster, the body prepares for danger. If the voice says, I can handle this, the body stays calm. Most people never question their inner voice. They assume it's truth. It's not. It's a habit. Here's the rule. You don't need to silence the voice. You need to lead it. When emotion rises, listen carefully to what you're telling yourself. Then change the language. Instead of, this is unbearable, say, this is uncomfortable, but manageable. Instead of, I always mess things up, say, I'm learning to respond better. The brain believes what it hears repeatedly. The tone matters. The words matter. Calm words create calm emotions. This will feel unnatural at first. That's because the old voice has been running the show for years. Stay consistent. Each time you correct the voice, you weaken emotional reactivity. Speak to yourself the way a strong mentor would. Firm, clear, calm. No drama, no panic. Remember this, you are always listening to yourself, so make sure what you're saying builds control, not chaos. Stop emotional storytelling. Emotions are temporary, but suffering is often self-created. One emotion appears, and the mind starts telling a story. He did this on purpose. This always happens to me. Nothing ever works out. The emotion was small, but the story makes it heavy. Most people don't suffer because of what happened. They suffer because of the meaning they attach to it. The mind loves stories. It connects the past, predicts the future, and builds a narrative. And that narrative keeps emotions alive. Here's the shift. Separate the event from the story. The event is simple. Something happened. The story is optional. You created it. When an emotion rises, ask yourself, what actually happened and what am I adding to it? That question cuts emotional intensity in half. Instead of thinking, they don't respect me, see the event. They disagreed with me. One is a fact, the other is interpretation. Facts are neutral, stories are emotional. The more you reduce storytelling, the faster emotions fade. Because emotions need stories to stay alive. This does not make you passive, it makes you clear. Clarity allows better responses, not emotional reactions. Practice this. Every time your mind starts replaying, pause. Bring it back to the facts. No past, no future, only what actually happened. The calmer your story, the calmer your emotions. Control the narrative, and you control the feeling. Master breath, master mind. Your breath is directly connected to your emotions. When emotions rise, breathing becomes shallow, fast, irregular, and that breathing signals danger to the brain. The brain listens to the body. So if the body feels tense, the mind follows. But this works the other way too. Change your breathing and emotions change automatically. No thinking required. Here's something important. You cannot stay calm while breathing fast. It's impossible. Slow breath creates calm signals. When you feel emotional pressure, shift your focus to breathing. Inhale slowly through the nose. Feel the air reach deep. Exhale slowly through the mouth, longer than the inhale. Make the exhale slightly longer. That tells the nervous system there is no immediate threat. And when the body feels safe, the mind relaxes. This is not theory. This is biology. Your emotions follow your breath pattern, and at first your mind will resist. It will want to think, analyze, react, ignore it. Stay with the breath. 3 slow breaths can prevent an emotional reaction. 5 slow breaths can reset your state completely. That's real control. Not mental force, but physical regulation. Practice this daily, not only during stress, but during calm moments. Train the breath when nothing is wrong, so it works when something is. Remember this. If you ever feel overwhelmed, come back to your breath. It's always available. It's always powerful. Choose response, not reaction. Reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. And that difference decides the outcome of your life. Reactions come from habit. They happen fast, without thought. Responses come from awareness. They happen slowly, with clarity. When you react, emotion is in control. When you respond, you are in control. Most regrets come from reactions, words spoken too fast, decisions made too early, actions driven by emotion. A response gives you options. A reaction gives you consequences. Here's the practice. When something triggers you, ask one simple question. What is the best response right now? Not the fastest, not the most emotional, the best. That question activates the thinking mind. It pulls you out of emotional autopilot. Sometimes the best response is silence. Sometimes it's walking away. Sometimes it's speaking calmly and clearly. Control does not mean doing nothing. It means choosing wisely. Responding does not make you weak. It makes you dangerous in the right way. People cannot manipulate what does not react impulsively. This takes practice. Your mind will want to fall back into old patterns. That's normal. Each time you choose response, you rewire behavior. The more you respond consciously, the calmer life becomes. Not because people change, but because you do. Remember this. You don't control what happens to you. You control how you respond to it. And that is real power. Silence builds emotional strength. Not every emotion needs expression. Not every thought needs a voice. Most people speak to release emotion. Strong people stay silent to understand it. Silence is not weakness, it is control. When emotions rise, the urge to speak becomes strong, to explain, to defend, to react. But speaking too early often increases damage. Silence creates space. Space to think, space to feel, space to choose. When you stay silent, emotions begin to settle. You hear your thoughts more clearly. You notice what actually matters. This doesn't mean you avoid conversations. It means you delay them until emotion calms and clarity returns. Silence also protects you. Words spoken in emotion cannot be taken back. Silence keeps you from creating regret. Practice this. When you feel emotionally charged, say less. Let the moment pass. Let the emotion settle. You can always speak later with control. You cannot undo words spoken in anger. Silence builds inner strength. It trains patience. It trains discipline. It teaches you that you don't need external release to regain calm. People who master silence become emotionally stable. They don't need to prove. They don't need to react. They choose when to speak. Remember this. Silence is not absence. It is presence under control. Train discomfort daily. Most people avoid discomfort. They escape it. They distract themselves. They numb it. And that avoidance makes emotions fragile. Emotional control is built by facing discomfort, not running from it. Discomfort is training. It strengthens the nervous system. The more you avoid it, the more power it has over you. Think about it. If you panic every time discomfort appears, your emotions control you. If you stay present inside discomfort, you build resilience. Start small. Do things that feel slightly uncomfortable on purpose. Cold water on the face, sitting quietly without distraction, delaying instant gratification. These are not punishments. They are training exercises. They teach the mind, I can handle this. When the mind learns that discomfort is survivable, emotions lose their intensity. Anxiety weakens. Fear softens. Impulse reduces. This is how control becomes automatic, not by thinking, but by conditioning. Discomfort also builds confidence, because confidence comes from evidence. Evidence that you stayed calm when it wasn't easy. Do this daily, not aggressively, consistently, a little discomfort every day. Over time, your tolerance increases. And when real emotional pressure comes, you don't break because you've trained for it. Remember this, comfort weakens emotional strength. Controlled discomfort builds it. Let go of what you can't control. A large part of emotional suffering comes from trying to control what was never yours to control. Other people's actions, their opinions, outcomes you can't predict. The mind wastes enormous energy fighting reality. And that fight creates frustration. Control has limits. You control your effort, your attitude, your response. Everything else is external. When you accept this, emotions soften because you stop demanding certainty from an uncertain world. Letting go is not giving up, it's choosing peace over resistance. Think about how much energy is spent replaying situations. What if they had said this? What if it had gone differently? That energy does nothing but drain you. Instead, bring focus back. What can I control right now? Your breath, your words, your next action. That's it. The moment you redirect attention, emotional intensity drops because the mind returns to the present. Acceptance creates calm, not passive calm, but grounded calm, the kind that allows clear thinking. Practice this daily. When something is outside your control, acknowledge it and release it. No argument, no resistance. The more you let go externally, the more control you gain internally. Remember this, peace begins where control ends. Build an unshakable inner identity. Emotional control becomes effortless when you know who you are. Without identity, the mind reacts to everything. With identity, emotions know their place. Most people define themselves by situations. If things go well, they feel confident. If things go wrong, they feel broken. That is unstable identity. A strong inner identity does not depend on outcomes. It is internal, grounded, consistent. Decide this clearly. I am someone who stays calm under pressure. I am someone who responds, not reacts. I am someone who observes emotions without becoming them. When identity is clear, behavior follows naturally. You don't ask, how should I react? You already know. Identity acts like a filter. Not every emotion gets permission to act. Not every thought gets authority. This is why practice matters. Every time you pause, you reinforce identity. Every time you choose awareness, but you strengthen it. Over time, this becomes automatic. Calm becomes your default. Clarity becomes normal. Not because life is easy, but because you are stable. People will notice this. Your presence changes. You don't need to explain. You don't need to prove. Control speaks quietly. Build identity daily, not through words, but through actions. Small, disciplined actions shape who you become. Remember this. When identity is strong, emotions obey, not by force, but by alignment. How to control your mind and emotion. You've now heard 12 powerful principles, not theory, not motivation, training. If you look closely, everything you learned points to one truth. Emotions are not the problem. Lack of awareness is. When you become aware, you pause. When you pause, you choose. When you choose, you gain control. You learn to observe emotions instead of fighting them, to pause before reacting, to detach from thoughts and stop emotional storytelling, to use breath as an anchor, to respond consciously and value silence, to train discomfort and let go of what you can't control, to build an identity that stays calm under pressure. This is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming stable, stable in chaos, stable under pressure, stable when emotions rise. Life will still challenge you. People will still test you. Situations will still be unpredictable. But now you have something most people don't: inner authority. And the more you practice this, the quieter the mind becomes, the clearer decisions become, the calmer your presence becomes. Remember this: the world outside will never be fully under control, but the world inside can be trained. If this video helped you, if you felt something shift inside, even slightly, then this channel is for you. Here, we don't chase motivation. We build discipline. We build awareness. We build inner strength. One principle at a time. Subscribe, not for content, but for training. Because the greatest skill you can master is mastering yourself. Stay calm, stay aware, stay in control.